My name is Anne Beatty, and I am the Chief Executive of the Steve Sinnott Foundation. I'd like to introduce you to Etant Dupain, who is the filmmaker. If you could give everybody a wave.
Thank you for having me, and I hope you guys, all of you, enjoyed the film. And I am mostly here if there are some questions and if there are some comments or some criticism. You never know. Yeah, I'm that's why I'm here. But I'm very pleased to be here. Unfortunately, I can't. I had planned to be in person in London, but we all know what's happening with the pandemic and stuff. So I'm happy we can talk face to face right now. So if there's any question, I'm happy to talk about it.
And then we have Lord Leslie Griffiths with us, who is a life peer at the House of Lords. And as you've heard him say, he's had a long love affair with Haiti, and education in Haiti in particular.
A little hint, you never ask a Welshman if he'd like to say a few words. He instinctively does that, and he's been given an invitation to do it. So yes, of course I would. I'm delighted to be with you. Perhaps for those whose paths haven't crossed mine in the past, I just explained that I and my wife spent the entire 1970s in Haiti. Two of our three children were born there in the Hôpital Canapé Vert in Port-au-Prince. I'm an ordained Methodist minister, and I was ordained in Haiti. And I've met Madan Sara many, many times. I know the road up to Pétionville, La Boule, Fermat, Furcy very well. And I'm amazed at how much produce comes down that track to Port-au-Prince to feed the population there. But I have the experience also in the provinces of Haiti of meeting Madan Sara, both in the great sprawling marketplaces that happen in the full countryside sometimes, but also because it was part of my job to travel to 48 communities where there were churches I had to look after. And I would travel by mule over the mountains. And I was rather overqualified for the job I was doing, in that I had a couple of university degrees and I spoke rather fluent French, which is the official language of Haiti, but found that I had 48 churches where nobody spoke a word of French. So I experienced, all I can call it is disempowerment. The moment I arrived there, I couldn't say boo to a goose. Even a Welshman couldn't speak on that occasion, on those occasions. But it was the peasant people of Haiti, the people in the arrière-pays, who taught me everything, absolutely everything. They taught me their generosity, their humanity. They put their houses at my disposal if I had an overnight stay. They taught me their language, their culture. They embraced me and gave me the skills I really needed, not those provided by the University of Wales or the University of Cambridge, but the University of Life. And I fell in love with Haiti there and then. I speak both languages now. I've been traveling there ever since. We run an all-party parliamentary group on Haiti, and Anne has visited us there, and so I think has Billy. But for all that, my association with Haiti is of a rare kind. I have beside me a rather large and imposing wall covering that shows I'm a member of the House of Lords. It's my coat of arms and my official entitlement to bear arms. And I only mention it not to impress you. If I wanted to impress you, I'd show you pictures of it. But only to say that I was asked if I wanted a botanic border around it, done by the heraldic sort of people. And I said, yes, I would. And would you instruct us into what kind of a botanic border you'd like? And all the way around it, I have a daffodil intertwined with a rose. My wife is English. She can't help that. and a hibiscus. For these are the three countries of my life, Haiti, Wales, and England. So there, a mini sermon I'm practicing for tomorrow, just to introduce myself and to say that the film was truly astonishing. I was so disturbed when we got to the part of the film that showed the burning of marketplaces, and which is a reminder that Haiti at this particular moment is going through a very bad time with lawlessness and kidnappings and gangs and so on, and discontent politically. And although the people were clamoring for Jovenel Moïse, the president, to be deposed, it's not terribly easy for any of us who've been watching Haiti for a long time to know what on earth would replace him, what will come next. So I want to express to Etant Dupain my gratitude for the film, my distress at the situation in general. I mean, those women were not only magnificent exemplars of the will to live, but they were also telling us of their pain when everything that they stand for and have accumulated is being taken from them, either by exploiters or by ruffians. So thank you for the film. It's opened my eyes, and I hope it opens the eyes of all of us to the conditions within which some people have to live. I mean, I could go on, Anne, but I can see from the glaze in your eyes that you probably sort of got more than you bargained for already. So there you are.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And we've also got Billie Jean with us, who is working for the Steve Sinnott Foundation as a project manager, but currently he's in Barcelona studying.
Hi all, my name is Billie Jean, and I'm the project manager for Steve Sinnott Foundation in Haiti. And in Haiti, we used to work with in a couple of projects. Like we had a learning research center for young people, so they could go for free to in a fully furnished library and computer to make research and to help bettering their education, and also train teachers, mainly in the public schools. And unfortunately, the idea was to put our program in a place where there's a big population, but it's unfortunately turned out to be a red zone. It's not very operative right now, but we did not give up Haiti. We continue to work in the with Alpha, which is another organization in the north of the country, to teach people how to read and write. And it's a very interesting project that we are happy to collaborate with them. But right now I'm currently based in Barcelona to do my master's degree, but I still have an eye and do some work by distance, remote work, Steve Sinnott Foundation. And I'm glad to be here and went to alongside the filmmaker and to support in answering question as a Haitian myself.
We're really grateful to be able to show this film. It's really an important part of Haiti's culture. The Madan Sara, the women there keep the economy going and everybody fed. And as you've all seen, education is a key part in that. So now we'll open the floor to questions, please.
I want to ask, I don't understand the motivation of the people, the ruffians who set fire to the marketplaces. What's the motivation behind that? What would they gain by burning down a marketplace like that? Clear enough what the women lost, but what was the gain for the perpetrators of such things?
I don't know. It's a really sad thing. I tried to come up with multiple explanations and investigate, what was happening. But the real answer is I don't know. But what I can tell you for sure is this is part of complete neglect by the government, by the states in general. This is how we treat hundreds of thousands of women, business women, who's waking up every day to go about their businesses. So what I know for sure is that it is like we as a society, we need to face this hard truth, and then we need to find a way to put an end to that, because it's we must put an end to it. There is no way forward, and I agree 100% with Edwige when she said no Haiti cannot move forward if we don't invest and valorize women's work. Unfortunately, I don't have the answer for you, but I'm glad we are having all this discussion right now around burning markets and violence against women in general in Haiti. So I hope people think twice and something change and sooner rather than later.
Thank you.
Can I add something?
Of course.
Yeah. I don't know either what's the motivation behind this, but there are some people, they think it's not a personal opinion, but some people think it's kind of a disloyal competition, because we have some people, rich people, who operate in cartels, like having supermarket. So normally the public market where the Madan Sara goes, you would have product at low prices. And then this is where a big amount of the population goes to buy product like fruit and everything that in the daily basis with the low prices. So it seems like it's a competition from between this public market and then people who own big supermarkets. Because when people set fire in the public market, it's never an accident. It's never by accident. It's a plan, and people do that. It's a criminal act from a group of people, you know. But I personally don't know who are behind this and what's their reason or what's their personal interest for that. But some people used to say that, which makes sense for me, but it's not my personal opinion. You know, it's kind of a competition, because now if people are afraid, they can't go to the public market to buy the stuff. They go to the supermarkets in the next corner. And then the supermarkets have the monopoly, so they can raise their price. They can put a ticket on a product. You know, they can raise the price. And anyway, you don't have choice, because you can't go to the public market because you're afraid, and they destroyed this business, and so you have to go to the supermarket next to your house anyway.
But I mean, since you decided to go there, I was trying to give like a more structural answer. I just want to add for context, 99% of supermarket in Haiti are owned by Syrian, Lebanese, and some other foreigners. But the majority are like people that came to Haiti 75, 100 years ago from, you know, multiple places in the Middle East. They are the one who owns most of the supermarkets. Just to add some context to when you talk about the competition that might exist between public markets and big supermarket chains.
We have a question in the chat from Isata. She has watched the film and she's calling in from Sierra Leone, and she has a question for you, Etan. It is, what was the most important lesson you had to learn that had a positive effect on the film? I
think the film is the more time that I spent with Clotilde and Madame Monique, the more I learned about their stories and what they wanted to tell the world about them. So I learned a lot about the amount of knowledge that they have, how they really know their businesses, and all they asking for, all they want from the rest of society is like, it's mostly is to be left alone and some, you know, general support. they weren't, they are very, very independent, and they are ready to get up every morning and keep on fighting. So I think I learned Madan Sara is a network that is way stronger than I thought, and this is a practice, a business that will stick around for for a long time, because they are fighters. They are not giving up despite all the challenges they are facing.
Thank you very much for bringing this movie to us, because this documentary, because it's not often we get to see kind of such a locally kind of produced, very important documentary. I was just wondering, when you were commenting on the burning of the markets and you related to other areas of the world where these informal economies, and in particular where women are involved in trying to survive and trying to bring money to their home and their families. I was just wondering if some of the burning wasn't connected to the money lenders and to because you focused on, was it 2 or 3 economists? And I just thought that the one woman where they loan money to these women, many of them were very distressed because everything was in there, and they were loaned at, I thought, high interest rates. So I just wondered if you could comment on that.
The sequence about the burning market, this is the first thing I did on the film. Like I built the film like around that. This is the first sequence when I was like moving to post-production. I really wanted to have the country face that reality, that truth that we have to face somewhere or another. I think my focus is more on like the structural violence that exists against women in general in Haiti. Whatever the way it is in the UK, it's 10 times worse in Haiti. That's what I think. And it's very unfortunate. And I think we need to face that head on. And that this is one of the reasons, like with the movie, we're working with feminist organization in Haiti. They are the one leading the screenings, the debates and everything. Because I mean, my job is kind of done. The film is over. But we have like women organization who's actually doing the hard work every day. They are the one using the film to do all the advocacy work that needs to be done. I think it's come back to the total neglect of the state. That is because I don't think that one fire is the problem. I think the problem is the impunity. Like if someone can go to a market and burn it down and go around, nothing will happen to you. That's the real problem. And then we have and this is one of the biggest problem we have in Haiti is the impunity part. And this is what I think we need. I've never heard throughout making the whole film. I never come across of like one person that was arrested because they burned a market, or someone who went to jail because they went burn a market, like something like that. It's very unfortunate. I try very hard to put this out there. Hopefully something will happen. Hopefully people will get engaged and something positive will come out of it. But the real problem with the burning market is the neglect, is the state neglect of the way we treat women in the country, and the impunity.
I was interested that Clotilde had 5 sons, and we saw Dory, aged 18, with her, and she told us about the other 4, the Dominican Republic, University, École Professionnelle, and all those things. I would have quite liked to have known, well, she didn't have daughters, but if she had daughters, it would have been interesting to see, what their trajectory through life might have been. Would there be an emphasis, even by someone like Clotilde, to getting her sons educated, but a less of an emphasis on her daughters. I mean, I don't know. I'm not suggesting there is. It would have been interesting. She had 5 boys. And would the daughters simply have learned her trade and gone on doing as she had done? Would that been an untested assumption, or what? I mean, how are girls and education situated as opposed to boys and education, even in the same families, if you see what I mean?
I don't really remember if she said she had 5 kids or 5 boys. I will double check that. I think I mean I think this is the part where you know, this is more something global than the national, the treatment of boys versus girls. In our case in Haiti, I think there's a lot of progress on how parents treat their kids, which is very, very encouraging. But I will say I still believe there's a bias. I think we move past the discrimination part, where we can because there are some progress that made in the last couple of years or decades in that sense. But at the same time, I believe we have a long way to go for you know, to be able to treat women and girls equally. So this is a global movement. This is something that we all have to do, and then it has to start with me, with my own household, with everybody, because we need to set the example to get to the point where we don't even have to think about this type of thing, like, oh, are we gonna send the girls to school or the boys to school? This, like, I'm hoping to not have to think about that in, like, you know, 10-15 years, for that still to be a thing. I hope I answer your question. I don't know if I
No, you have. I mean, I was assistant head of a large lycée, Collège Bird, in Rue de l'Enterrement, and we educated quite as many girls as we did boys, and educated them well. And there were some prestige schools in Port-au-Prince for girls. I mean, I saw lots and lots of girls going to school. I had no way of quantifying them numerically, as it were, how many girls as opposed to boys. But and similarly, there's been a woman president of Haiti, and there are women in the business community, leading voices. And even the head of the Tonton Macoute at one time was a woman, Madame Adolphe. So I don't have with my eyes any experience of girls being, from the educational point of view, treated differently from boys. I have no knowledge at all of what happens to them post-education in terms of the lives that they live. And of course, a huge percentage of Haitian children aren't educated at all. And I was amazed at Clotilde's 5, I think it was boys, but you can check it, that every single one of them seemed to have. And the boy who was still at home with her, who clearly loved his mother very, very much, wanted to be a photographer with his studio and so on and so forth. I mean, the aspirations are very considerable. Their mum is a Madan Sara. And here they are, all of them, with horizons that are not the produce of selling vegetables in the market.
Yeah, also some of the most prestigious school in Haiti are women's school, like exclusively for women. For example, Saint Rose de Lima, Mère Baudon. These are like some. I think these two probably a part of like top 5 in the school. They're like exclusively for women.
Hi, Etant. I thought your film was wonderful. And I wanted to, I came on a little bit late, so you may have already answered some of these questions, but I wondered about you and how long it took you to make the film, and how did you edit it yourself? Tell me about the process, your process, and what made you choose that? Thanks.
Thank you for your question. I wrote my first article about wanted to make a film in 2015. So the first interview with Clotilde and the last one, they are like 4 years apart. One is 2015 and the last one is 2019. Yeah, so the film completed early 2020, but because of the pandemic, the film came out October 2020 in Haiti. So it took me a couple of years to get it done. There were some ups and downs, but I think I finish it. I mean, my mom was in Madan Sara. My mom was in Madan Sara for many years. And I have personal experience going to the market with my mom, and I talk about that in the article that I wrote. I don't know if you guys visit the website, you can see we have all these articles there. So I have like personal experience firsthand with, but I was raised by Madan Sara. And also I working in Haiti as a journalist covering Haiti, I wanted to tell, I wanted to make a film about Madan Sara, but I wanted to tell a bigger story. And I think this was the perfect subject to do that. And I think, yeah, it took a little while, but I think I managed to build something around that. It was challenging at some point, but I get it done. There was some downtime with, for example, there's a lot of footage that's not in the film because I lost them during production. Because I shot most of the film myself. Yeah, I do a lot of traveling on top of the truck with the women. So I lost some of this footage because one day, during working, it rained and I lost all the footage, all the camera and everything. So yeah, but it was very fun. It was very fun. I was very lucky to spend a lot of time in the market, at the market with Clotilde, with hundreds of women for years. It's a very good experience. So if you watch the film, you can see the market is you like in the market, and if you know Haiti, you can have nostalgia when you see the market. I did not edit the film, and this is one of the things that I had to pay someone to do. The editor did a really good job. She did a really, really good job, and I'm very happy about everything. Yeah, I'm very lucky to work with her, and I think the film is the feedbacks are very positive, and I'm looking forward for us to continue doing all the screenings that we're doing, and to have more people talk about the film and engage. Hopefully something will happen and people will start to organize or demand better in the near future.
It's not a question, really. I just want to say congratulations to you for producing such a wonderful piece of work. And alongside the questions you raise, and are raised in the film that are really important ones, there's also a lot of beauty. And for that, I thank you, because you give the beauty, you show the beauty of the community of these women working together. And there was something, I think a farmer said at the very beginning, you were talking, and he was such an empathetic man. And he said, when you finish caring for and growing the vegetables, you give them. And I thought that was so beautiful. There was this connection of community between them. And the way you use the author reading breath, eyes, memory going through it as well, that was wonderful. So alongside, as I say, congratulations on all the people involved, because alongside those very serious questions and the concerns and the horror of what's happening, you created a piece of beautiful work that showed community and love, and I think that's something very special. So thank you.
Isata has another question. She would like to know, what did you learn about yourself while you were making the film, Etant?
Oh, I learned I can be very patient. That's what I learned. That's because it took me a long time to make the film, and I did not give up. It's in yeah.
I had another thought. First of all, I'd like to say I absolutely back up what Jude said about the film. It's a beautiful film, as well as a very important film. And thank you very much for making it. I wanted to just go back to education in Haiti a little bit. What's the literacy rate there, I wondered? And would most of these women working in Madan Sara be literate, or would they be mainly illiterate? They're obviously very good with figures and wonderful memories, I guess.
Unfortunately, I think the literacy rate in Haiti is probably like around 50%. I can be wrong. I can be wrong. Unfortunately, that's around the number. And Haiti is a country that's still under like a lot of what's the nice way to say it? International pressure in terms of Haitian relationship with the rest of the world. Haiti never really know Haitian decades. That's not really exists. Like there's always something, and that has to do with either foreign intervention, either natural disasters, all this type of thing. It's very unfortunate, but we're still there, we're still standing. People like Clotilde and Madame Monique, they have a limited education in terms of go to school and universities like that. That's very unfortunate, but I will repeat the word of Dominique Boyer, the woman from Focosé. She said they probably don't really know how to read and write properly, but they know their businesses, they know what they are doing. And that's what I think that is the most important part. And this is, it was very motivating for me to follow them and spend time with them. It's very encouraging. And Haiti is also I think in 2013 I read a World Bank report on Haiti. Haitian households spend sometimes over 50% on education for the kids. So these are women who really, really care about putting their kids to school. It's really big for them. And I think this is the most important thing at the end of the day, because they are not only feeding the country, they are building the next generation and trying to leave behind a legacy that will be not only their legacy, but to make sure the country can survive, which is I think it's something heroic that they are doing. And if you're lucky enough to sit down and spend time with some of these women, to talk to them and listen to them, you will understand what they're going through, and then you will understand the film better. And thank you for your kind words about the film.
I too would like to thank you, Etant, for this extraordinary film. And Billy Jean, it's really good to see you in person. Chauncey sends his very best wishings from Limonade. I told him that I might see you today on the screen. And I just wanted to point out that our literacy program in the North, based in Limonade, was actually founded for market women in that area. And we have found that there are between 70 and 75% of adult women in our area who are totally illiterate. And I believe that is changing because of the efforts of women like Madan Sara, who insist on their children going to school. But it's 75% for adult women, like these women in this film. And they come to us, and many of them have never, ever even held a pencil. But when they can, they come to class and they begin to learn basic stuff. When they can write their name, when they can become basically numerate, it helps their business enormously, because they can be cheated very easily, very, very easily. They're wily women, they're smart women, my goodness. and they endure. But they can be cheated, they're raped. Theft is very, very common. This is all true, right, Etan?
Yes, it's they talk about it in the film. I think
Right.
Clotilde, I think they talk about like the violence against women in the film.
Right, right, right. It's an ongoing problem. Every trip they take from Limonade in the north, most of them travel to Guanamouth in the Dominican Republic border, and they endure all sorts of humiliations and violence every one of these trips. It's really an extraordinary story. But thank you all very, very much for bringing attention to this problem. And it is changing Haiti. It will change Haiti because they endure and are such extraordinary people, these women.
Yeah, I wanted to add something. And first of all, I wanted to congratulate you, Etan, for the film. And I really enjoying watching it. It brought some nostalgia to me, of course, but it's really beautiful. Congratulations. And also, I wanted to say that, yeah, most of those women don't know how to read, right? But they really know their business from experiences. So most of them grew up doing this alongside their mother or their aunt or a family members. And also, I think we as the new generation, we have a lot to learn from them, because as we know nowadays, a lot of people in the business point of view, they people who never own a business in their life give for training online or in person, how to start a business and grow rich and stuff like that. But in fact, in reality, those women in the field, there's a lot of things to learn from them in the business point of view. Their determination, they start from scratch, and then they operate with loan with high percentage, and then they raise 5, 9 kids. Sometimes many times they are single mothers, and they educate their kids. They give self-sufficient citizen, a professional citizen, lawyer, engineer, and filmmaker like you, Etan. And so I think we have a lot to learn from them, also in their business point of view, how they manage to do so many accomplishments with so little.
First, the same to thank you for that movie, and thank you for portray Haiti in the way that me personally haven't seen before. I'm coming from Cuba, and even in Cuba, we still have this fatalistic vision in relation to Haiti, even when Haiti was one of the first Caribbean country to get the independence from the colonial. So the history of fighting and surviving and resilient from the Haiti people is there, but most of the time you find the way Haiti is depicted and framed in the very not pessimist, but not recognizing what is there. So when I saw the way you were framing women in Haiti and the Madan Sara woman, I couldn't feel, I don't know if it's the right way to say, but you giving us the chance to feel pity, because they keep fighting all the time. So even when the burning of the market, and it was screaming and it was anger and was frustration, but the way you were framing the narrative wouldn't have the, let's say, the viewer, me as a viewer, have time to feel pity or to feel was like, no, it's still, the struggling is there, but the continuity and the fighting. So thank you for that as well. Thank you. It's a powerful movie. And I wish we can have the screening in many places, really. Thanks.
Thank you, Olga.
Thank you for your words. Yeah, I think it's important for Haitian to tell their own stories. And I hope many more people will make films, keep on telling the story of Haiti. Thank you for your kind words. And we can play the film in Cuba. We haven't played in Cuba. We play in many countries, but Cuba, not yet.
Eton, we've just connected you with a group in Cuba, and so hopefully that will happen later this year.
I'm just wondering about something. And, you know, the women borrow, an awful lot of women borrow money at high interest rates from a type of bank. I don't know what the woman who was talking, I can't remember her name, about lending money, but there was slightly higher rates because of the risk. And I'm wondering why that must be a big part, it seems to be a big part of that particular lender's business to lend to these women. And why they can't invest in some kind, maybe I'm being very simplistic and naive, but why can't they invest in some kind of a security around that? Because surely they lose money by the people who borrow money not being able to repay it because of being unable to, because their livelihoods has been taken. So is there not some kind of, there must be people wanting job security around places to protect people in business. It's just a thought that came to me. I don't know if anybody's got any response or thoughts on that.
I added 13 minutes to the film. I just did that. I interviewed three. I had 3 interviews to the film, and one is a credit officer. One is someone who's working like technology, trying to support Madan Sara, and the other one is the governor of the Central Bank of Haiti. I was shocked to learn microfinance in Haiti are not regulated. They're not functioning under any type of guidance of the central bank. It's only this year, probably a couple of months ago, they are regulating them and trying to. Most of them were just function out there like NGOs, and they are the one who like set the rates and stuff like that. So the central bank is trying to do, trying to reorganize them and making sure like they respect that. Number one, there are money that are available for credits for the sector, and also they will have to follow the guideline of the central bank, because right now as we speak, it's like they are taking advantage of these of most of these women. Despite there's a lot of needs, but microfinance in Haiti is not the right way to go. It's not like the solution for it. Since there's a lot of need, I think they can play a positive role if there are control, if there's like they respect all the rules. But I think it's something that needs to be changed, and I'm happy to hear that there are some new rules that the central bank are putting in place to protect, not only to make money available for the sector, but also to put some order on the lending programs that the microfinance are doing in Haiti, to stop to make sure that people are not taking advantage of them, because they are they more into a loan shark than institutional like credit institutions. So it's a very unfortunate situation, and I hope we will have some reform in the coming months or years.
Thank you very much for the film. I think it's really important to tell the story of Haiti, and I think that the world has a lot to learn from it, from these stories. And I think I wanted to ask if you were planning to make any more films about Haiti. I
will make many more films about Haiti. I was in Haiti. I just finished shooting a new documentary in Haiti, like probably like 5 weeks ago. I was in Haiti, so it's hopefully will be out in 2022. But yeah, I will make many more projects about Haiti.
Are you able to discuss the informal savings groups within the community? These are traditional and trusted.
Oh yes. They are number one, to be part of it, you have to be part of the Madan Sara, the little Madan Sara gang. put themselves together and put their money, and they are the one who decide who's getting the money and when, and it goes around and round. Sometimes it's every week, sometimes it's every month, sometimes it's every 2 months. You have to be like, you have to be a trusted person to be part of that community, because it's sometimes this is how someone will start the business. Sometimes this is how people pay for their emergencies, because there's not a support system that exists. I think it works very, very well. Unfortunately, they have to build it themselves. I wish there were like more support as a that exists around the country for them, where they didn't have to like rely on making sacrifices, because most of the time it's like they have to sacrifices something to do another thing, to pay another thing. Sometimes it's extra. It is really good in terms of like solidarity. It's a really good system, but it's not enough, because there's a lot of needs and there's very, very little support. I think I this is something that I like the most about the Madan Sara, because they build their own system and then they rely on each other to be able to survive every single day.
So I think we'll bring things to a close. I mean, it's been a really interesting discussion, and we feel really honoured and privileged to be able to show this film on your behalf, Etant, because it shows a part of Haiti that many people wouldn't get to see, and it's a very positive film. And it really chimes with the work that we've been doing at the foundation in terms of supporting women and girls and working in education. And I'm really pleased to let everybody know that we've raised over £200 to go towards education projects in Lemonade, and we're going to be supporting the Alpha Creole Literacy Project in Lemonade, and also I'm really proud to say that we're going to be starting the Positive Periods project in a couple of months. So I want to thank everybody, and keep up the fantastic work, is all I can say. And thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you for having me.